Welcome back, Not Gospel here. Cliff Williams, Joel Jackson, and in the news today.
In the news. This is our new segment, right?
Yeah, a brand new segment we're starting. Joel, here's a little something.
What happened?
So, Joe Biden.
Okay, wait, what's today's date?
Today,
April 20th.
This is on April 29th. This is when we're filming. This may release a couple days from now or whenever.
Okay.
But as of April 29th, 2021,
Joe Biden.
According to the news, Joe Biden draws ire from Republicans and pushback. This is according to the Epic Times. So he draws ire from Republicans and pushback from Democrats for $6 trillion spending spree. Now, keep in mind, Trump got heat from Republicans and Democrats because he averaged like $4 trillion a year. Every year. So that's a lot. I mean, in my opinion.
But he tweeted mean, so we can't have that. He didn't even tweet mean. He tweeted the truth.
Well, there's the thing is his skin color is not a race. There's not an orange people of any kind. And I wouldn't necessarily call him Caucasian or brown or anything.
Can we just hold the same standards for both presidents?
President Joe Biden's $6 trillion in his early term spending schemes. $1.9 trillion, the American Rescue Plan. That's COVID. It passed with 0 Republican votes and 2 Democrats who didn't vote for it.
Not going to get reelected, man. Got to work together.
That lets you know how many Democrats we got on the big stage, because 2 Democrats that I know of didn't vote for that package and 0 Republicans.
Whoopsie daisies.
$2.3 trillion for the American Jobs Plan, and this is according to my phone, by the way, so it could be malarkey. Who knows?
In the news. That's crazy.
And then the American Jobs Plan is $1.8 trillion. Oh, no, that's the American Jobs. $2.3 trillion is the American Jobs. $1.8 trillion is the American Families Plan. They have drawn sharply critical reactions from Republicans and more muted criticism from Democrats for their lofty price tags. So in his first 120 days of office, among the more miraculous and fantastic things that Joe Biden has done for our country is increase our debt by $6 trillion.
But met with 0 criticism because he doesn't tweet the mean truth. That's it.
Well, you know, we're in a much better place now than we were a few months back, man, when the orange man was in, right? Like everything's better now. You know, like I breathe, like I've had asthma and now I don't.
You remember seeing
That's not true. I got to interview my dad, so that was very cool. If you don't know, my dad's 83 years old. He inspired the book that we are currently in the process of getting published. We're pursuing publishing the Man of God series.
Yep.
I got to sit down and interview him for like 30 minutes, and it was awesome. Covered a lot of stuff. It's one thing for people. I had already heard these stories like over and over. It's one thing for the people to see a character based on his life and follow that character. It's another thing to see that individual share those stories and know that they're legit.
And basically, your dad, if I'm correct, was a preacher and been involved with ministry his whole life and has a bunch of crazy ministry stories, like miracles and whatever.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's like from the time he was in his 20s till now, he's been a minister. But
that's awesome.
The first 20 years, I mean, he had polio when he was 2 years old. After his mom died, before he got to graduate, he went to the military, traveled the world, sold guns overseas, which he had to sign waivers saying he couldn't talk about it for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So whoopsie. But it's been like 50 years since then, so we're allowed to talk about it. But
how's the soccer team?
Oh, our game got canceled.
Okay.
Because of rain.
Okay.
Which I'm not upset about. But dude, our game got canceled. I told you, I feel like I have the best kids. I blame the coaching staff for our failures. But for whatever reason, this last practice, I could not get them to listen at all. And I started I was on a short fuse, and I was tired. Everybody was tired. So I just made them run a lot. And I started cracking jokes. I saw one. I was like, hustle, let's go. And I'd be like, I've seen more hustle out of my late grandma, kind of stuff like that. And Yeah, and the parents were just hysterical. They were laughing nonstop because I was just giving these kids a hard time. But they wouldn't listen, so I just had to make them run a lot. I'd be like, all right, get on the line, let's run. And they'd have to run back and forth. And they're like, why aren't we...
You should use that old, like, brimstone, whatever preacher voice. I've seen more hustle out of a child. Like,
Turn or burn, baby.
Burn. Run 5 miles. I ain't seen a kid this slow since the 40s.
Man. Well, none of that would have been inaccurate. That's for
so
sure.
Extra after this coffee.
All right, so other stuff that happened this week is I finished the Koran. I finished the Koran.
That's right.
And that's kind of what we're hoping to talk about this week. So, and I have it
Yeah, dude.
right here. So
I'm interested in this because I'm not studied up on other religions in any way, shape, or form. I know the Christian thing. I grew up in it. I left it for a while, came back, but I'd be very interested to. I don't know what's the difference. Is there a difference?
Yeah. So first off, we gotta lay some groundwork here.
I know.
I don't want to get banned. I don't want to get blocked. We will not. Nothing in this episode. Hear me. Nothing in this episode will be xenophobic. Nothing will be Islamophobic. Everything that is said in this episode will be a non-hate-based opinion or facts and excerpts read straight from either the Quran or the Bible.
But if we slandered the Bible and Christianity and said a bunch of horrible things about that, we'd probably get a bajillion views, and it would not get banned.
They might allow it. Yeah.
They would allow it because it's YouTube. Christianity is evil, apparently.
I won't slander the Bible, and I won't slander the Quran. But so the foundation, the groundwork here. The reason I wanted to study the Quran, I took the last year of my life. I've read the Bible several times over, and I wanted to know about Islam. And I had preconceived notions as an Orthodox Christian, as a conservative. I had these preconceived notions because I'm told in the media that any of these terrorist groups that they claim to subscribe to the Islamic faith, that they are radicals, that they are radical cells, that they do not represent the tens of millions of Muslims that are peaceful Muslims throughout the entire world. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm told. That's
the narrative. That was my initial joke at the start, saying, "Oh, you can bash anything, but don't dare bash Muslims or the Quran." I don't want to bash Muslims or the Quran, but
and that's not what we're gonna do. We're not gonna bash them. There's no point in it.
But I think what's interesting with you saying that is like you look at these terrorist groups. I'm not aware of a modern Christian terrorist group, and I think that's why we want to talk about the Quran, is because I think, if I'm correct, a lot of these terrorist groups, they prescribe to that. So
the history about what my preconceived notions about the Muslim faith is that kind of like Christianity. Christianity has its roots and its origins in Jewish history, right? Yeah. So the Old Testament, the God of the Hebrews, and there's a lot of talk, obviously, where he tells them to go in and slaughter everybody in the Canaan land. Like, slaughter their kids, slaughter everything. Like, he tells them to do that.
That's hard to square with, too, sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't have it figured out.
Yeah, well, we'll dive into that today. But then, as the Christian faith, we believe that when Jesus came on the scene, he changed a lot of that and ratified a lot of that with
New Testament.
His own teachings in the New Testament. So, the assumption has been for me for a long time that Muhammad was basically the Islamic Jesus. That was the assumption, that Muhammad showed up, changed everything, made it an applicable religion for everybody.
Okay.
But that was a preconceived notion that I had, as well as some preconceived prejudices, let's say, about terrorism and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to either affirm some of my beliefs or disprove some of my thoughts, because you can't talk about it unless you know. I don't agree with talking about something in ignorance. The same thing we said about LeBron James last week. He posted that tweet about that police officer, and then come to find out afterwards he was saving another child's life.
Whoopsie daisies.
Yeah, whoopsie. So. But I don't believe in talking about something ignorant to the facts. So what do? You read it.
Facts don't care about your
Yeah,
feelings.
so I read it through and through, cover to cover. Obviously, have lots of highlighted, dog-eared pages and everything. And so,
well, and I think and this is probably a lot of Americans. It's probably most Americans. So my preconceived notions about probably the whole Muslim thing, I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know a whole lot about Quran. But one thing that I would know is that a lot of these terrorist organizations claim that, but there are also apparently a lot of, well, not apparently, there's a whole sect of Muslims that are peaceful, and I guess we're gonna kind of dig in and figure out what basis that is for it.
So the interesting thing about the Quran is the Quran actually talks more about those who aren't Muslims than it does Muslims themselves.
Really?
And so the foundations of
because I know nothing, so this is good.
All right, so the foundations, 0 AD, Jesus is born.
Yep.
33 AD, Jesus is crucified in Jerusalem.
Yep.
Jerusalem is controlled by the Roman Empire at this point. Within the next couple of hundred years, Christianity continues to balloon and blossom in Jerusalem and in the Roman Empire, and eventually becomes the official religion of Rome. That there you have the Orthodox Roman Catholic Church, all that stuff. Around 400 AD is when like first versions of the full complete Bible, these kind of things start be like manifesting. And then around 600 AD is sort of the whiplash of this embracing of Christianity. 600, Muhammad, the Quran was essentially a series of books that were, per Muhammad's testimony, were given to him when he was in the Medina Mountains by Gabriel the angel. Essentially, for 21 years, over a course of 21 years, he would go into the mountains. Gabriel the angel would come down and basically expound onto him the surahs of what make the Quran. The surahs are essentially books of the Quran. It took 21 years. It started in like 610 AD. And during this time is when Muslims essentially kind of pushed back and had their kind of Meccan holy wars to retake Mecca and all this kind of stuff. And then this isn't the first time that people have been taking lives in the name of religion, regardless of what the religion says, forever.
Yep.
The Crusades happened in 1100 AD. This is like the whiplash back and forth. After Muslims go in and take back Mecca, Jerusalem, all this stuff, in 1100 AD, the Crusades, led by, Pope Innocent III, essentially, for over 100 years, the Crusades, they were just pushing in with militant force, like convert or die, to try and reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land for Christianity. So essentially, the Muslims come in, retake it, and then they fought with Christianity to take it back, slaughtering people. I don't know how you can do that if you really adopt and embrace the Christian faith, but it's just...
Bibles weren't, like, you couldn't... There weren't a lot of Bibles back then, if I'm correct, right? So people just kind of... Because it's almost like, imagine having one news source in the whole town.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what it says. It says kill people. Okay.
And Bibles or Holy Scriptures...
And you can't check it out for yourself.
Holy Scriptures were basically... Very few people had access to them. You would represent,
I know nothing.
Typical American.
Never read a page of it. Well,
yeah. So I guess to address your questions, if you have questions that I've dog-eared, then I can pull to those and say, well, here's what the Quran says about that question.
Okay, is this a peaceful religion or is it a religion of war? And if it's a religion of war, are there passages in there that are very violent? Because they're saying, no, this is a peaceful religion. It's all about peace. And that's what the media is telling us. But aren't there passages in there that are like really violent?
Okay, so...
Isn't there one that says like that if someone's not going to convert, just kill him? I swear I've read that somewhere.
Okay, so where it can be interpreted as this is a peaceful religion. Mm-hmm. There are parts where it talks about Christians and Jews directly. There's a part, right, that I actually have dog-eared, highlighted. It says, they who believe, the Muslims, and they who follow the Jewish religion and the Christians, Whoever of these believeth in God in the last day, and doeth that which is right, shall have their reward with the Lord, and fear shall not come upon them, neither shall they be grieved. So there's like, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're whatever, as long as you believe in God and trust in Him, and you fear Him, and you believe in the latter days and God's return, you're fine, you're set. You're going to have your reward with God.
Yeah.
So there is that. But does that discount some... There are many passages that talk about... I'm sorry, it was just kind of...
Yeah.
I just read something. Okay. There are many passages that talk about what to do with what are called infidels. And to be very clear, the Quran...
What's an infidel?
An infidel is anyone who obviously doesn't believe in God. So an atheist, an agnostic, those type of people are infidels. The people who... are pagans who believe in multiple gods or any other god besides God.
Which God though?
God, Allah, the God of to them, the God of the Hebrews in the Bible is the God that they're talking about.
So like Old Testament God?
Yes, that God.
But then Christianity split because New Testament?
New Testament Christianity. So according to the Quran, we are infidels.
Because
as
of the
Christians,
New Testament.
because we believe that Jesus is also God, is God's son.
Got it.
And in the Quran, they're very plain. They say that neither Jesus nor his mother, because at the time in 610 when this was happening, this is the Muslim religion is the pushback, remember, against the Catholic religion, let's say.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's kind of when Catholicism and the Church of Rome began to be established, Christianity in Rome.
So they're the Democrats to the Republicans.
Effectively, yes. It's just the age-old blue and red battle.
Oh, man. Get off my lawn, boy.
And so there is a passage that talks about, that they shall have their reward, those that believe. But then there's another passage right here, and it says, and when the sacred months are past, kill those who join other gods with God, wherever ye shall find them, and seize them, besiege them, and lay wait for them with every kind of ambush. But if they shall convert and observe prayer, and pay the obligatory alms, then let them go their way. For God is gracious, merciful.
God is gracious and merciful, yet murder everybody? Hold on. That's really confusing.
But I don't want to take it out of context, because it goes on. It says, if any one of those who joins God with God, so this is, again, it'd be like us, essentially... If I believe in Jesus is also God. But if any one of those who joins God with God asks an asylum of thee, grant him an asylum, that he may hear the word of God and let them reach his place of, and then let them reach his place of safety. So they say, if I ask for asylum, even though I'm a Christian, I'd like asylum with you. They'll grant the asylum.
But they're still saying murder everybody, even in the context. Okay, this is a question. Christians we don't explain the Old Testament away, but we say Jesus came in the New Testament, and that's all a lot of the love stuff. Yeah. How do they explain? How does Obama and the whole Democratic Party explain that away?
It goes on to say, yet if they turn to God and observe prayer, the people that they granted asylum, and pay the impost, then they are your brethren in religion.
Then it says, so do this, or we're going to murder you.
So, and it says, but if after the alliance is made, they break their oaths and revile your religion. So if after making an alliance, they turn from the Muslim faith.
Yeah.
Then do battle with the ringleaders of their infidelity, and so make war on them. By your hands will God chastise them, and will put them to shame, and will give you victory over them. Make war on them is what it says.
Well,
so I again, there's another passage. Say to the infidels, if they desist from their unbelief, what is now past shall be forgiven them. So it's like if they desist from not being Muslims, it sounds like a holy war. If they desist, if they return to the faith and they become Muslims, now the past shall be forgiven them. But if they return to it, they have already before them the doom of the ancients. Fight then against them till strife be at end. And then
That's what it's like. I think it's very important. How did they explain? Like, if you talk to, I'm not saying Hillsong, but if you talk to Christians that like are more probably open to a lot of things, they'll say, yeah, well, we don't believe in biblical inerrancy, which is a thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
But that's how they explain away the stuff they don't like in the Bible. How do the Muslims...
I've never heard anyone explain it away.
No,
all I've heard him say is that
it's a peaceful religion, and Christianity's bad and ban the Bible, but I'm Obama. That's what I think.
So I'm going to go to the Bible here in the Old Testament.
Okay.
This is not the only religion where they've told people to kill
Murder
them
the heck
all,
out of
find them where
people.
they stand.
Yeah.
So in the Bible in Deuteronomy, now it's important to know how they're applying this. This is, at this time, God's talking to the Jews specifically, and he's saying, when you enter the Canaan land, the land that I'm giving to you, wipe out everyone in that land. And it's pretty
That's
detailed.
brutal, dude.
Yeah. It says, when the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess and drives out before you many nations, and when the Lord your God has delivered them over to you and you have defeated them, then you must destroy them totally. Make no treaty with them and show them no mercy. Do not intermarry with them. This is what you are to do to them. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, cut down their Ashtoreth poles, and burn their idols in the fire. For you are a people holy to the Lord and your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the people of the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. You must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God gives over to you. Do not look on them with pity and do not serve their gods, for that will be a snare to you.
That kind of sucks.
It's man, woman,
I hate to say that.
Man, woman, and children. But again,
How do we
explain that away?
I mean, I have ways.
You understand. It comes with an understanding of the faith, in that right now, at this point in the religion, God has chosen just the Jewish people only.
That sucks.
They are his people only, and he literally doesn't care about anybody else. And he's promised this land of Canaan to the Jews, and he's telling them just wipe out everybody who's there.
Just my normal thoughts. That's awful.
Right.
I'm just saying,
it
like
is awful.
human thoughts.
It is awful, and I don't understand.
But we
God's
have
a lot bigger
the
than me.
Jesus stuff, right? Because we're not preaching that anymore.
Well, and also, it wouldn't even matter if we were preaching this. I don't live in the Canaan land.
yeah,
I'm not living in the land that was promised to the Jews.
right.
See, that's the thing. This is only applicable to the people in that land at that time.
Yeah.
It has no more application further than what it was.
Because I read that and I'm like, man, I think by all accounts that is evil.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna claim that. I'm just gonna say those are my first thoughts.
Well, and right. So Jesus comes on the scene and he does what's called he makes the law he
drops the mic.
Drops the mic. He basically makes the law applicable to everyone.
Okay.
The 10 Commandments that God gave for Moses, God was very specific, and he said, these are for ruling the people of Israel, the several million people of Israel. Thou shalt not covet, don't make any graven images. Thou shalt not murder. You might as well put, if it says thou shalt not kill an Israelite. You might as well put that. You could kill anybody else. They were infidels. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that. These are rules for his people only. Jesus comes on the scene. And in Matthew 5, he says, you have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if someone wants to sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. If someone forces you to go 1 mile, go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. You have heard it also said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? Saying you got to love people who don't love you. You got to love those who hate you, who treat you poorly. So Jesus comes on the scene, and he changes this idea
And
that the
that's our
Jews are the,
explanation.
and that's right, and that's what by his own words. Like, this is his own words. And then we also have to think about, so what does Jesus say about how to treat people when you go and you try to convert them? Because that's what the
Dust off your boots and you go to the next vibe.
Matthew 10. Whatever town or village you enter, search for some worthy person there and stay at his house until you leave. As you enter the home, give it your greeting. If the home is deserving, let your peace rest on it. If it is not, let your peace return to you. If anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that home or town. I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that town. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves.
It's a good explanation.
He's essentially saying, go out and minister, preach the gospel, his version of the gospel. And if they don't receive you, hit the road. Shake the dust off your feet and bail out. He tells you, no, don't go in there with an army and try to slice their heads off, which makes the crusades that happened, in 1100 AD. Total bunk to me. I don't know how you can make a religious war in the name of Jesus when he tells you to treat your enemies with love. He goes on further to say, this is Jesus' words again, all men will hate you because of me, but he who stands firm till the end will be saved. When you are persecuted in one place, flee to another. It doesn't say if you're persecuted in that place to take your sword out and lop their heads off. It doesn't say that. He says to flee to another. I tell you the truth, you will not finish going through the cities of Israel before the Son of Man comes. So he essentially tells them, look, you're going to be hated for my name's sake. You know, these people are going to persecute you. Not everyone's going to accept the truth. And when they don't, shake the dust off your feet and move on. That's what he's telling them.
I heard all throughout, and I was not politically informed 10 years ago when Obama was president. I heard, he hates Christianity and all that stuff, and the Happy Holiday or whatever. We're getting rid of Merry Christmas. But, like, do they just say we take the good and the bad? Because that's a good explanation. Now, it's not totally consistent, but if they're like, no, Muhammad was crazy.
There has to be a spot that tells them not to murder them, not to kill them. So far, all I get is again, in the surah entitled Muhammad, when you encounter the infidels, which again, infidels are anybody who pairs any other gods with God, which is me, you, Catholics, pagans. And that's also, this is relevant. Infidels are also, especially those who do not believe in God. Atheists, agnostic, infidels. When you encounter the infidels, strike off their heads till you have made a great slaughter among them, and of the rest make fast the fetters. So it says lop off their heads until there's loads of them slaughtered, and then the rest of them put them in chains, because that's what fetters are. Just, make fast the fetters, put them in chains. It goes on to say... It goes on to say here, be not faint-hearted then, and invite not the infidels to peace. Be not faint-hearted then, and invite not the infidels to peace. So don't make peace with the infidels when you have the upper hand. If you have the upper hand, don't make peace with them, for God is with you and will not defraud you of the recompense of your works. So if you've got the upper hand, don't make peace with them. Keep fighting them. In good faith, I read this cover to cover. I tried to find a place where it said that if you're a Muslim, you cannot take the lives of, or you should not take the lives of anyone, Christians, anybody like that. There's all throughout here, there is the command to fight in the name of their God, which is fine if you define how you're fighting. Jesus defined his way of fighting. He said you go into the town, you preach the gospel.
Breakdance. We're going to have a breakdance fight. And
Dance off.
And he was like, you've got to leave the town if I win. And if I'll and then he's just like, all right, that's fine.
If you have a question about something, the best thing to do is not take a media outlet or anything, or even take my word for it. The best thing to do is what I did, which is read it yourself. Find out for yourself. Ignorance is not an excuse. If you have the time to sit and play a video game, you have the time to read a book.
That's right.
If you have the time to dye your hair blue,
and still live
how long
with your mom.
How long does that take?
To dye your hair blue?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Well, it actually usually takes about 25 years because you have.
Oh.
We need to explain. I need to one day. I have about a 10-minute explanation of the blue-haired SJW that lives with their mom. I have a whole explanation for that archetype.
If you had the time to if you had the time to watch this video, you have the time to read a passage from my book. If there's something you want to find out about, read, learn it. I don't ever have to read the Koran again, and I know more about it than possibly some practicing Muslims who've never read it, because I read it. That's it. Up mine.
Up mine.
Anyways, that is the time we have for the Koran today. Hope this was informative. And like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff if you want to. If you don't like it, don't dislike it. Just ignore it. Just block me if you want. But keep being awesome, because that's how he made you.